Councilman Samaluka?
Here.
Councilman Garrick?
Here.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Here.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Here.
Council President Armando?
Here. Please rise for the salute of the flag. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members and to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law, 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during the meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Southborough may not be privileged or protected, and that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by saying may and have in the past sought legal redress through the courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
Motion to open the meeting to the public.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Council President Armando?
Yes. Meeting is now open to the public.
Good evening, everyone. Thomas Van Winkle, 128 Lincoln Avenue, Southbrook. Tonight, I'm just going to give you a quick update of the Mayor's Youth Group over the last month. I do want to thank all the youth group members who helped out with the Easter celebration that was held on March the 30th here at the Municipal Complex. They helped out with the food drive that was held. They helped recruit new members. They also helped out with the egg garden and helped with the Easter Bunny photo area. So I do want to publicly thank all of the members who came out and helped with that and helped create a poster to really help show our community what they do and how they serve our town. So again, I want to give them thanks. Looking ahead, we're going to be doing our annual Earth Day cleanup in honor of Earth Day, in honor of protecting our planet. That'll be this Saturday at 10 a.m. at Tricentennial Park at the corner of Platt and Southborough Road. So we hope we get the Mayor's Youth Group members to come out. Again, that's this Saturday at 10 a.m. We'll have the gloves provided, we'll have all the gardening tools provided. It will be a planting of flowers around the flagpole and then as well a cleanup of Tricentennial Park. So we hope to see everybody there. And anybody who's in grades 4 to 12 are always welcome to join us, anybody who lives in Southborough. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you.
Good evening, Omar Rodriguez Southbrook. I have a few items. We were discussing a couple of weeks ago at the workshop meeting a few other items, and I'm just going to elaborate a little bit more right now. I got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics. I'm going to be quick. Resolution number 3 on the agenda today doesn't have an amount. I believe that every resolution should have a price. In the meantime that you are looking into that resolution, I will have to thank you for looking into the matter of the scooter ordinance for electric vehicles. I believe that it will be safe for a lot of residents that are riding in the town, and especially with these scooters that don't wear helmets. Once this ordinance goes for second reading and becomes a law, I believe that everyone should be safer. In the interim, I'm going to take parentheses. I believe that a lot of times I bring some points on the council do not respond to me when I'm here, and I'm not having any points against any of you. Actually, I just bring points that are, I believe, imperative, if not necessary, if not interesting to the residents in Saddlebrook. I believe that the public out there needs to hear from you guys that we're elected by the people and for the people to hear some of your comments. But a lot of times I just mention things and things just go mute. No one said anything. Like in the last meeting, I questioned like on my new tax postcard, the value of my home, it went up almost $50,000. So I request if any of you have any comments on that. And I didn't hear nothing. I believe while I'm walking the streets, people have a lot of questions because they don't hear nothing from the elected officials. I'm just trying to convey the message because most of you know that I'm going to be running for the council position on this primary and also in the general election in November. So as I start talking to the people now, to the residents and voters, they got a lot of questions. And one of the questions were that about the taxes. Now, as I go along with that, also I'm reading on the first reading ordinance number 3. It says that the water rates are going to be increased. And I believe the residents, not just me, just the residents deserve a response, a proper response. Why it's going to be increased, not just on the ordinance, on the document, it says just because Suez is going to go up. I believe I got 5 minutes, right?
You got 3 minutes.
Okay. Oh, I thought last time you said it was 5 minutes.
Last time was 5 minutes for that day.
Uh-huh.
It's 3 minutes. We didn't change the ordinance yet, it's 3 minutes.
You didn't check what?
We didn't change the ordinance yet, it's still 3 minutes.
Oh, I thought I was under the impression that it was 5 minutes all the time. I spoke to you last time.
No, it was
That's
that
why I
day.
was just elaborating a little bit more.
It was that day.
It's, that is the predicament of the council president who runs the meeting.
Yeah, I understand that, it's 3 minutes.
Well, I'm gonna respond to that, but it's actually,
Well, if you didn't spend half the time using the mic there as a platform, you probably would have finished.
you see, you said it's a platform. It's just that you don't answer the question. That's fine, I'll leave it up there. That's fine. That is fine. If you were elected and you don't want to hear, that's fine. If that's your prerogative, just to, I believe your time is very important and not the residents, that's fine too.
We do get back to your questions.
Thank you very much.
No, you're gonna hear me now. Because we do get back to your questions. You happen to always walk out when you don't get the answer that you want. But when we respond, and when you're not here, the people do hear what we say, opposed to what you say to us. So for you to come up here and say that we don't respond is an outright lie. Because we do respond. You leave early before the comments.
Because you never respond the proper thing. It's like,
We respond to the comments. It's a
I have
comment
to
section.
Oprah. What is the cost of the new building? $10 million, $20 million, $30 million, $40 million? Can just someone respond? One person can just please allow the town residents to know what is the total cost of this town hall? What was the total cost of the building of this town hall? Can anyone tell me?
Complete building?
Yes,
To purchase the building and to
everything.
outfit it was, I believe, 28 million.
$28 million. All right, thank you very much. Have a good night.
Anyone else?
Motion to close?
All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor?
Thank you, Council President. As many of you know, this month is Autism Awareness Month, and I have a proclamation that I'm going to read. Whereas globally, since 2008, Autism Awareness Day is April 2nd and is observed throughout the month. The day often features educational events for healthcare workers, teachers, parents, and children with autism. Autism is a neurological disorder that interferes with the normal function of the human brain, and can affect anyone regardless of ethnicity, gender, or socioeconomic background. Symptoms and characteristics of autism may present themselves in a variety of combinations and can result in significant lifelong impairment of an individual's ability to learn, develop healthy interactive behaviors, and understand verbal and nonverbal communication. A variety of public and private organizations and agencies strive to provide quality care, support, and services to children and adults with autism to help enable them to live as independently as possible and reach their full potential. So now, therefore, on this 18th day of April 2024, I, Robert D. White, the Mayor of the Township of Saddlebrook, do hereby proclaim April Autism Awareness Month. I urge all residents to become educated and informed about programs, services, and opportunities to help support individuals with autism. I wanted to bring up several items, but I wanted to mention that we received the $1 million congressional appropriation grant. There was a press conference here a couple of weeks ago with Congressman Bill Pascrell, but we received $1 million for an emergency generator for this municipal complex. Now, this generator will power the entire building. We do have 2 smaller generators now that provide backup power to essential areas only. Now, having the entire building powered during outages is beneficial in that, in case we want to utilize this building for an emergency evacuation site or shelter, we can do so. Now, most buildings don't have full capacity, full power, backup power. Certain ones do, obviously hospitals, our police department does, but it's not required. Data centers that control a lot of information, internet, they obviously have them, but we're not required to have it. But this is a great thing for the town, and the bottom line is we saved $1 million because we did consider it when we purchased and retrofitted this building, but we decided against it and we went for this grant because we really didn't need it. We don't need it now, but this is a great thing for the town. So like I said, the biggest thing is that if we do have, it's a huge building, it's a huge facility, and we want it to be powered and for backup power in case of an emergency, in case of a power outage. So we're very happy with that. But I can understand there's some members of the public were, I guess, a little taken back. They didn't understand fully. So that's why I wanted to bring up these particular items just to let everybody know what actually happened there. Other grants, we've applied for $160,000 community development block grant funds to pave 3rd Street. That should be, we should find out mid-year whether the committee approves that allocation. They're going to be meeting sometime either the end of this month or beginning of May. We also applied for a grant through the county for open space of $120,000. That's for further improvements of 5th Street Park. Our paving program for 2024, I'm going to list the streets because a lot of people are interested to know which streets are going to be paved this year. Lincoln Avenue and Van Orden Street, from Liberty Street to Paley Avenue are going to be paved. Nightingale Road from Bell Avenue to Cambridge. Elm Avenue, the whole way from Shepherd's Avenue to Wilson. Ash Avenue, which is the next street over, as well from Shepherd's to Wilson. Dyer Place, which is off of Saddle River Road by Grumpy's over there. It's a small town street. That's going to be done. Sampson Street from Market Street to the dead end of Veterans Field. That's going to be using New Jersey Transit funds. We received a grant for that of $200,000. Sterling Place off of Saddle River Road and Orchard Lane off of Saddle River Road. Those 2 are community development projects from last year. I failed to mention at the last meeting that I had attended on February 28th a meeting hosted by Lodi Mayor Scott Luna, the Army Corps of Engineers, Assemblywoman Lisa Swain, representatives from Congressman Pascrell's office and Governor Murphy's office, and local mayors in the Lodi area along the Saddle River also some BAs that were there too, business administrators. We're there to discuss the flooding problem and ways that the state and federal government can assist. We're really pushing hard for some funding. So it was a productive meeting, but we've had several other meetings. We have to, I believe that we have to band together all the towns along the Saddle River and stay on top of our elected officials, our county and state and federal elected officials, as well as the Army Corps of Engineers. But there's power in numbers, and we have to keep at it. So hopefully something will come of it. I wanted to mention that we had a solar eclipse on April the 8th. The reason I'm mentioning it is because I want to thank the Saddlebrook Library for handing out free sunglasses to the schools. I guess there was quite a stir about this eclipse. I don't know if everybody knows what it is, you probably do by now, but the shadow of the moon causes darkness on the land in the middle of the day, and it's not going to happen for another 2 decades. So if you missed it, but Thomas, I don't know if he's still here, but he took some fabulous pictures that he posted, and we put them on the township Facebook. So our Easter celebration was Saturday, March the 30th. Another great job by our Projects and Activities Committee, Christine Generara, Shannon Akamondo. I want to thank Thomas Van Winkle and the members of the Mayor's Youth Group. We had a food drive for the Saddlebrook Food Pantry at the event, and they helped out with that, collecting the food. And also they tried to recruit new members. They had a membership drive, so to speak. And they did a nice poster board with photos of all the group activities that we do, and that was displayed at the table. We did get a couple of new people from that, which is good. I also want to thank the Saddlebrook Library for participating. This is the first year they did arts and crafts for the children. And I also want to thank the Women's Club for handing out snacks, and they come to every event. They're just a fantastic group that give a lot back to the community. The Little League Parade and opening day ceremony was this past Saturday, April 13th. The weather did hold up, and we were able to get everything in, including all the games for that day. I want to thank the Little League Executive Board, all the managers, coaches, volunteers, and the parents. I also want to thank the Police Department, Fire Department, Ambulance Corps, and DPW for their assistance with the parade. We have some upcoming events this Saturday, April the 20th, Girls Softball Opening Day. It's an all-day affair. We'll put out more information on Facebook and our notification, Notify Me alert system. Monday, April 22nd is Earth Day. Thomas brought that up. Earth Day is an annual celebration that raises awareness of the needs to protect our Earth, the Earth's natural resources for future generations. The day's origin, for those who might not know, dates back to events in the United States back in the 1960s, some environmental catastrophes, particularly Santa Barbara oil spill and the Cuyahoga River fires of 1969. I don't remember either of them, but I probably should, because I'm that old. Tuesday, May 14th, Town Hall will be open. Mr. Ladico, our town clerk, will be there for voter registration. It'll be open till 9 p.m. It's the last day to register to vote for the June 4th primary election. The Saddlebrook Police Memorial is on Wednesday, May the 15th, 12 noon, at the monument at 93 Market Street, the old town hall. The townwide garage sale, I've been getting a lot of questions about this, but it's going to be Friday through Sunday, May 17th, 18th, and 19th. Saddle River Road is going to be closed. They're working on that bridge now. They've been working on it for several months, but they're going to actually close the road for the whole weekend from 6 p.m. on Friday night until 6 a.m. on Monday morning. It's going to be closed both ways. They're going to do 2 dates in May. Right now they're saying May 17th and May 30th. That could change with the weather, because if it rains, they're not allowed to work. They're also going to do 2 dates in July, but they haven't set that yet. What they're doing is they're replacing the Garden State Parkway Bridge over Saddle River Road. The residents in that area, in that immediate vicinity, will receive written notification and probably going to go door to door with our DPW or our police department, community policing unit will talk to the residents. It's going to be loud. It's going to be difficult for them in that area, but it needs to get done. And we're also going to have to notify everyone else. There's going to be signboards, notifications on social media, Nixle, and maybe even reverse 911 for that. So it's going to be difficult, but we'll get through it. There'll be police doing the traffic there too. I just wanted to mention quickly, we don't have anybody from Leicester Avenue here, but we did post the no parking signs 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. there because there was an issue with employees from Scheffler Foods that were parking there, and we are working on a resolution now with the management of Scheffler. They may be able to use the back of the building to park passenger cars only, so we're working on that. Also, the County Park Playground, we had residents here last meeting, and they did attend, these residents attended a commissioners meeting. I don't know what the date was, but I know Councilman Garrett did go to that meeting, and we'll probably speak about that with his comments. I know Councilwoman Sanchez wrote an email to them. I also wrote a letter that I emailed to the county executive and the commissioners, pretty much just asking that they consider the residents' input there, because they're not happy with a few of the proposals there, and so just wanted to make sure that they listen. But I personally feel, I mean, it's a project. It's going to spend $3.7 million, and it's going to be a benefit to the town. But hopefully they'll do it the right way, and I think they are. But there's just a couple of items that some of the residents have concerns about. Happy Passover, which is Monday, April 22nd to April 30th. Happy Mother's Day, which is Sunday, May the 12th. Thank you.
Councilman Garrett?
Good evening, everyone. As the mayor said, I did attend the county commissioners meeting last month. I, along with some of the residents from Saddlebrook, voiced concerns about the location of the park. Also, some of the residents had concerns about the flooding with the Saddle River. The residents live very close to the Saddle River there. They have flooding issues, so they were concerned about that as well. So we're hoping that they could come up with an alternative location for the park and not put it right on Saddle River Road. But obviously they spend a lot of time and a lot of energy looking at the best location, so we have to understand that as well. We did have a flood committee meeting on Thursday, March 28th. Mayor White, Pete Ladico, OEM coordinator Tom Dickman, myself, and we had a couple residents, Neil Fadul and Gail, attended. We discussed flooding along the Saddle River and on Sheppis Ave. There's a little bit of a ground of water there that's been an issue. With that being said, there's also been some issues in town regarding groundwater rising up, and unfortunately, we're not the only ones. There's other communities as well where the water table is very high. So that's been somewhat of an issue. We are going to have another meeting in June. At the May meeting, I will tell you when that's going to happen in June. I also participated in the Little League Parade. It was a great event. Good luck to all the players. I couldn't believe there's over 200 kids involved in that program. So it's a very successful program. The coaching's great. It's a great program. I also participated in the Easter celebration. That was outstanding, and I just wanted to thank all the volunteers and the participants in that. Another successful event that we had. Water rates are increasing, unfortunately. The town is not making money off of that. We pass that along. So when the water company says rates are increasing, unfortunately, the residents have to pay more for water. And that's for us too, as council people. We're not happy about it, but the price of water has gone up, and we have to pass that along to the residents, unfortunately. We don't get any joy of doing that. We don't want to do that, but it's something that has to unfortunately be done. So that's why water is going up. The water company is charging more for the water, okay? Good evening, and thank you.
Councilwoman Mayor?
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. This time I'd like to acknowledge all the coaches and the parents and all the volunteers and of course the sponsors too, the Little League. I wasn't able to attend the parade because I had my granddaughter's First Holy Communion in Hillsdale at the same time. But I want to wish everyone well and to have a great, safe, and successful season. I'd also like to acknowledge community projects and activity. You always do an amazing job. And all the volunteers that are involved in them. And we do appreciate everything everybody does. And of course, Thomas and his crew, always there to lend a hand and help out everywhere, anytime. And to come down Saturday, do some planting at Tricentennial Park. Feel free to park in TLC's parking lot. And happy Mother's Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Father. Sanchez?
So, like the mayor mentioned, I did send an email to the county commissioners expressing the concerns of the residents for the playground. I definitely want to, show them my support. I do support them, and like I stated at the last meeting, I do share some of their concerns, so I did follow up. As they also stated, I did attend the Easter celebration for a brief period. It was done very, very nicely. Thank you to everyone who made it what it was, and have a happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, Chairman. The gentleman had talked about the appraised value of his house going up by $50,000, and I don't think that that's an accident. Just look around. Anyone who's trying to buy a house is now paying over asking price. Don't even go in with asking prices. You're just going to get shot down. They might not even sign up your contract. There are houses that are going for $50,000, $70,000, $100,000 more than the asking price. So everybody's value of your house, if you sell it today, it's going to be a good amount more than if you sold it last year. So it's not unusual for the value of the house to go up. But it's across the board. Everyone's house is going up. So you're not being singled out for this increase that you've got to bear the brunt of that. It's across the board, and if everyone's go up, everyone's value goes up, our tax rate will most likely go down. So it's not as if it went up $50,000, so now I'm going to be paying $1,000 more this year. In terms of the flooding, I talked to Mayor Luna, I graduated high school with him actually. So, and he said something that if I was there, I would have said the same thing. The Army Corps of Engineers do study after study, and then they take so long to do anything, while doing nothing actually. Those studies become obsolete. So then they do another study, and these studies are not something that takes 6 months. These are 10-year studies. I'll be long dead probably before they dredge this river. However, what he said was to them, when they told him, listen, we're just a small speck on the map here, and I don't know if they're going to dedicate any money to us. And he says, it's a funny thing is that every year when it's election time, you come around to the small towns like Saddlebrook and Lodi and Wallington and to look for our support and look for our votes and look for our money to donate to you. But now we're small potatoes, so they've got to change their way of thinking. because we are important. It's a whole set of people. You know, the Saddle River goes from wherever it starts up in New York, and it goes down into to Newark. But they have to do the whole thing. We can't dredge Saddle River. People say, why don't we just dredge the Saddle River over here? I've heard people say, I'll bring in my own backhoe and start doing it. Well, it just gets jammed up someplace else. You have to do it the whole way. And we're talking a lot of money, and the federal government has a lot of money. And when you look at some things that they spend money on, they spend money on a lot of stupid things. A lot of things that just, if you look at their budget and all these, I'll say it, dumb things that they're spending their money on, you should be spending it on something that's going to improve people's lives. So that's something that I know our mayor and the mayors of the community along the Saddle River will be looking at. Water rates, I remember, I've been on the council for 16 years, and I remember a long time ago, we had to raise water rates. We look back, and I think I was relatively new at that time, and it turned out that we hadn't raised the rates in 8 years. But United Water, who was our water provider at that time, kept raising it every year. So it turned out that we were, basically the town was subsidizing the individuals using the water. It's kind of the same thing. I don't think we've raised water rates in 4 years. I think it's about 4 years. But the water company has raised the rates, if not every year, most years. So, like the mayor said, we're not profiting off any kind of raise. We're just passing along. It's like anything. If the price of sugar goes up, Dunkin' Donuts is going to charge you more. So, unfortunately, we've got to pass the cost along to the consumer. You know, we don't like doing that, but the alternative is that people will be paying for other people's water. Like the mayor mentioned, we're all wearing blue today to acknowledge Autism Awareness Month. It is something that we see every day, and years ago, we didn't see a lot of people that you would consider autistic on the streets. I think that, there's an increase in people with that condition, but also it's not something to hide. People with autism can be proud of what they accomplish. And they call it the spectrum, because you've got somebody, and we have our own, Saddlebrook's own ambassador to autism, Ryan Roy, who almost everyone out there probably knows, who is very vocal and very intelligent. And you've also got some people on the lower end of the spectrum who can't speak and need to be taken care of on a 24/7 basis. But God bless those people, and also the caretakers, and especially the parents who, their lives, depending on the level of the spectrum, their lives are greatly impacted, and they go through hell, because I know a bunch of people who have that. And, so God bless all of them for what they're going through, and continue your good work with them. I also attended Little League opening day, and it's scary to see that some of the kids that you coached are now coaching their kids. Just shows that you're getting old, I guess. Softball opening day is, like I said, this Saturday. I look forward to going there at Veterans Field, which is, everyone I talk to from other towns says you should be very proud, and everyone out there should be proud of that venue, because it is a great venue for sporting events. I attended the grand opening along with some of the mayor and a couple of council people of Made in Dominican Republic restaurant. That's actually where I have my dinner tonight. So anyone who likes that kind of food, please patronize that. If you don't know about that food, please go, give it a try. You might find that you like it. In terms of the ordinances tonight, the first one that we're going to talk about and vote on is the short-term rentals. And I believe we got a report back from the planning board, because we send things like this to the planning board for their input, and I 100% agree that the fines for a violation of that should be increased. Otherwise, it's just a cost of doing business. I think the original fine was $250 or $350 or something like that. So you rent your house out for 28 days and you violate the ordinance, and you get paid, you fine $350. You've made thousands and thousands of dollars. So it's something that we're going to tweak it, and we're going to work on that. But good job by the planning board to give us input. Sometimes we don't always agree, but it's a great back and forth that we have in a great relationship. We do have for first reading the electric scooter ordinance, which we've been working on, and again, tweaking that over and over again to get it to where it is now. The fines, in my opinion, might be higher or could be higher, but you know what? Let's see where we're at. If we get 5 violations in a year, there's no reason to change anything. If it turns out that we're inundated with violations, then we might have to step it up a bit. And I think, just see. I believe that is, we mentioned emergency generator, and I wasn't here at the council at the work session, but somebody had asked about, you should have done that before. Well, if we would have done it before, hindsight's great, but we saved $1 million. That's the bottom line. We did get the grant, so thank you to the federal government for their grant. Some of the good things that they're doing, not the dumb things. This was a good one. So thank you, and we'll have a great month.
Thank you. I'm just going to piggyback off Andrew with the Army Corps of Engineer. I was watching a special, and it was based out of Rockland County, New York, where you had mentioned. And they're talking about, they're getting a grant to build a dam. And they were stating that if they build a dam up there, it would suppress most of the flooding south of Rockland County. They're saying, if it's true, we'll see when they're done. But that's a start, and hopefully the Army Corps will work their way down south towards Jersey, Bergen County, and do whatever they can do to help these poor residents that have to deal with flooding waters every time it rains. I want to thank everybody for the Easter celebration. It just seems to be getting better every year. I know I say it all the time, but there's more people involved. Whether they live here or not, it's just great to see these little kids having fun. I want to thank Raphael for always being there. Last minute, you give him a call. Within 6 minutes, he's here with his equipment, ready to go. So thank you. Also, thank you to Thomas. Thomas, for a guy who gets paid absolutely 0 cents, puts a lot of money, puts a lot of time and effort into making sure he takes pictures of everything that happens in this township. Good luck to the Little League. I wish you a wonderful season. I miss those days. I wish my kids were little again, but fortunately they grow up, and one day hopefully we'll have grandkids. And happy Mother's Day to Sanchez, Spazer, and all the wonderful mothers out there. Thank you.
We have the ordinances. First ordinance on the agenda is ordinance number 1744-24, an ordinance of the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen and the State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 206, Article 4, General Provisions, Section 206-9 of the Code of the Township entitled Permitted Uses, to ban short-term rental of dwellings for periods of 28 days in any and all zoning districts for a second reading.
Motion for second reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
An ordinance of the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen and the State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 206, Article 4, General Provisions, Section 206-9 of the Code of the Township entitled Permitted Uses, to ban short-term rental of dwellings for periods of 28 days in and any all zoning districts.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
We have a motion to open the meeting.
I'm sorry. Motion open to the public.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's open to the public on agenda item only. Anyone wishing to speak?
Yes. Omar Rodriguez, Brook. I read it very fast. Councilman Simulucan gave a great explanation, more than 3 minutes, of course. But it was good. That's what the people wants to know. That's what the people wants to hear. And I really appreciate your comments. And everybody should have the same type of language and trying to explain to the residents. However, I do not agree with him on trying to increase the fines. That is the cost of doing business. Because as I read it, I think that is enough, because the first fine, if my memory is still good, is $250. Second day, second fine is $350. Third day is $750, and then it's per day, $750 per day. That's a lot of money. Of course, we don't want no one to do that, but I believe that right now, $750 per day, that's a lot of money. But then again, the violators, as far as they know that there are fines, of course, that they will have to think it twice before doing it. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Through the chair, before the governing body votes on this ordinance, we did, as Councilman Smaluka mentioned, receive a letter from the planning board. They actually had, and the planning board reviews any ordinance that impacts zoning, and they make recommendations to the governing body. The governing body, of course, it's their prerogative whether they wish to implement the recommendations. But they did have a recommendation to change the fines. The fines as listed on the ordinance are $350 for a first offense, $500 for a second offense, and a third offense is $750. Each day is considered a separate violation. So if someone rented the unit for more than a day, the fines, of course, it's a little subjective, but are pretty significant. But if you want to change that, we can. But you would change that before approving the adoption. The second recommendation they made was that they want the ordinance to specifically state that who the enforcement agencies would be, and they have the building department, police department, and fire prevention bureau. The police have the authority to enforce all ordinances, but again, if you wanted to specifically include that in the ordinance, we could. That would be the Second Amendment, and the exemption as to the sale of residential real property, that's already in the ordinance. That was a recommendation they made the previous time that the governing body agreed with. So any daily stay based upon a use and occupancy agreement for generated through a residential closing is not, or would be an exception to this ordinance. So at this point, you'd have to give me some direction as to whether you want to implement the increase in the fines and add the provision about the enforcement. If you do, then you would not be adopting this ordinance. I would make the changes, they would be advertised, and then at the next meeting you would adopt the ordinance.
Through the chair, I'm a member as well, Councilman Garrick is as well, of the planning board. So we attended that meeting. As far as the fines go, there was a lot of talk about that, but Mr. Cialone did mention that the fines are every day. So it's not just for the first offense, it's each day after. So as well, so it's 350 and then
500.
right. So I don't know, I kind of felt that wasn't, with that in mind, that really wasn't necessary to increase the fines, because that's an awful lot. That's so to me, I would say just leave it alone there. As far as having other enforcement agents, right? They mentioned police department. I agree with Mr. Scatino that the police can do it already, and that was brought up by Mr. Anthony Ambrosio, who's our building, from our building department and zoning, and he brought up fire prevention, because they do they do a lot of inspections, so they're in a good, they're in a good position to see that if somebody is renting it out as an Airbnb. So, I agree with that part. I think that that's probably something that is a good idea. What was the other one?
The other one we already have in, that was the exception.
Right, yeah, that was already, and I don't know why, I don't know if they had an old ordinance or where it wasn't in there, because they had made that recommendation a while back, right?
Yes.
So, but it is adding the fire inspector, or the fire official, is that a major, can we change that tonight and vote on it?
Yeah, I think that if that was the only change you could make, I would say that yes, you could change that tonight without having to
Right.
further amend it. We could make that would not be a substantive change because it doesn't impact really the violation or what constitutes the violation or the fines, which would be a significant part of the ordinance, the substantive parts, I should say.
I don't know, what do you think, Dave?
Through the chair, I would go with the mayor's recommendation. I think that's fine. I mean, I think the fines are high enough as they are. Adding the Fire Prevention Bureau to be able to write a summons, that would make sense if we could make that change. And then the third one is already there, so I think that would be a good option for us, just to include the Fire Prevention Bureau and leave everything else as is in the ordinance.
Through the chair, I just disagree. Listen, I'll go along with it. But in terms of the interpretation of how the fines would go, my reading of it is you have to be convicted, and that would be a first offense. So if somebody is cited, they're going to be cited one time. They're probably not going to get cited 30 times. They're going to get cited one time that you've had it, you rented someplace for more than 28 days. I'm sorry, for less than 28 days, you had one violation. And you would get a $350 fine for every day that they can prove that you violated that. The second conviction, then it's $500 a day, and the third conviction will be $750 a day. The way I read it is that it doesn't go the first day of your conviction, you're convicted, and the first day is $350, second day is $500, third day is $750, and every day after that is $750. That's not the way I read it. Maybe different minds can think differently.
Well, you're a prosecutor, so you would have a good idea of that. But my thing is, what if, and this happens a lot of times, what if they go there, they get a complaint, they go there, they see that they're operating, and they issue a summons, and they tell them, you gotta stop. And then they go there the next day, and the people are still there. So that would be like, they would write a separate one. So I don't know, I'm not an attorney, I don't know how that would work.
Well, through the chair, I think, basically, the 2 points are well taken. But the enforcement official would have to issue a separate violation for each day, and then when they went to court, as the councilman pointed out, the prosecutor would have to present the first violation separately from the second day violation and the third day violation in order to get the escalating fines. And to the mayor's point, that's what would have to happen. The inspector would have to go back on a daily basis and see if someone was occupying the unit, and then again, that would, a separate summons for each day would have to be issued.
The odd thing about this is that usually you get fined because there's a continued violation. Here, if it's only limited to offenses where you're leasing or renting for less than 28 days. Usually it's always, you do it in excess of what you're supposed to do. Here it's, once they're past 28 days, they're allowed to do it. Apparently, if you have a 2-month rental, you can do it. But it's only these short-term rentals that you're trying to do away with. So it's just an odd way of them going back, because the next day they could leave just because they own, it's like an Airbnb, the generic term Airbnb, for, you know, a weekend. And by the time somebody finds out, they're already gone. It's, number one, it's gonna be tough to enforce, but I think that I don't see them going back every day and giving, you're still here? Oh, you know, because what if they say, well, we're gonna be here for 30 days? You know, so don't give it anything to me, because these people are gonna stay for 29 days or 30 days. So it's just my interpretation of how it would be dealt with in court by, and I guess that would be the judge's ultimate discretion on how he's going to consider these. But I do think that, you know, if we're trying to stop this and they give them a summons, and the summons is for $350, and they had them there for a week, I'm sure a week for Saddlebrook is probably a lot more than $350. But, you know, again, just like the scooter ordinance, it's a work in progress. We can see. If, you know, we may never ever give anybody this violation, so to belabor it is wrong. So I'm good with it. If it means that we get this on the books now, so we have something as opposed to waiting. If like Mr. Scapizzi said, the other changes would not be material. We wouldn't have to re-advertise or anything like that. So I'm good with getting this on the books right now, and we could always see where we go with it later on.
One question. Who's Mr. Scapizzi?
What's his name? Scatino.
He's a
He was like Holly from here. I couldn't see him. Nah, that's bad.
Flavin?
Yeah, we can go on.
So the amendment would be to change the enforcement to include the building department, police department, and fire prevention.
Yes.
We need a motion to amend.
Motion?
Motion to amend?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen and State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 206, Article 4, General Provisions, Section 206-9 of the Code of the Township entitled Permitted Uses to ban short-term rental or dwelling of units for periods of 28 days in any and all zoning districts as amended, is now passed on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
Motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Simluka?
Yes.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur?
Yes.
Council President Accomando.
Yes.
Ordinance 2 on the agenda, first reading, ordinance 1745-24, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 196 of the Code of the Township of Saddlebrook, entitled Vehicles and Traffic, be passed on first reading.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Simluka?
Yes.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur?
Yes.
Council President Accomando.
Yes.
Yes, and through the chair, first, I want to thank Councilman Smaluka for providing the Hoboken ordinance that we did use as a model, and then it was modified significantly at the last meeting to be more specific as to Saddlebrook. And if anybody has any further comments before the next meeting, before we adopt it, please shoot me an email, and I'll try to, well, I will make any changes for that meeting if you have any. I think that the revisions that were discussed are all incorporated, but again, there were many revisions made, so you may want to take a second look and suggest other changes as well.
Thank you.
Now therefore be resolved that an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 196 of the Code of the Township of Saddlebrook entitled Vehicles and Traffic, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held May 16, 2024 at 7 o'clock p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Complex, 55 Mayhill Street. And at such time and place, all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Council President Comando.
Yes.
Ordinance 3 on the agenda is first reading, ordinance 1746-24. An ordinance to amend and supplement an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to fix water rates and service charges and penalties for the municipal water system of the Township of Saddle River, now known as Saddlebrook, in the County of Bergen, revision of 1931, as amended and supplemented for first reading.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now therefore be resolved by the Township Council that an ordinance to amend and supplement an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to fix water rates and service charges and penalties for the municipal water system of the Township of Saddle River, now known as Saddlebrook, in the County of Bergen, revision of 1931, as amended and supplemented, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held May 16, 2024, at 7 o'clock p.m., or soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Complex, 55 Mayhill Street, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Council President Accomando.
Yes.
All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or members so requested, in which case the items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of minutes and applications.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Council President Accomando.
Yes. Whole business? New business?
Just through the chair, I just got a couple of comments. I agree with Mr. Samaluka about the whole thing with the Army Corps of Engineers. You know what, it's amazing, and the wasteful spending, because those studies cost millions of dollars, and they basically do it. They spend all that money, and they tell you that they restrict what you can do. They tell you you can't do what you need to do to correct the problem. It's amazing. And I know you don't want to just go and do something without consulting with the experts, but I'd rather them give us that money to do things that we're allowed to do with drainage and such. As far as with the appraisals, Mr. Rodriguez, it's incredible. It really is. It's frightening in a way. I feel sorry for these three young people, the new homeowners, for people looking to buy a house. A friend of mine just sold his house, Basic Cape. Nice neighborhood, small yard, because it's got a garage. he was asking $530 for it. He ended up getting $600,000 for a standard cape. Yeah, the kitchen was done over. I mean, it was a nice looking house, but there are no additions. I mean, it's getting out of control. It really is. So, I mean, I guess eventually they're gonna have to come down.
Mayor, just to piggyback off that, the neighbor next door to me just rented their cape for $38.50 a month. Standard cape, no dormer, no addition, standard cape, no garage, $38.50 a month. The rent. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And then the last, I just wanted to mention about the water rates that during COVID, we were not, the state had a law that you weren't allowed to raise the rates during that 2-3 year time period. So we couldn't have raised them anyway, even if we wanted to. But you know, that and we haven't raised them in 4 years. So, but Suez, now it's the whole, they raised it. They raised it twice, I think. Right? So we have to pass that along. And the other thing too, what Flo said about the sponsors, I missed that. That's a really important thing because the businesses in this town, and you know what, it's a tough economy. They're hurting right now too. So, and they still give back to the community, which is a wonderful thing. So I thank them. I thank all the sponsors, not only Little League, sponsor all the rec programs and our concerts, you know, all the things, our township picnic. So thank you to all of them.
I don't know if anybody mentioned yard sale. Did we mention it this month?
Mayor did.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay. Everybody knows the dates. Good. Okay. Missed that.
Anyone else do business? Over the meeting to agenda items only.
Motion to reopen the meeting for agenda items.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is open for agenda items only. Anyone wish to speak?
Omar Rodriguez, Southwark. I was accused of using this as a platform. I've been doing this for years, bringing up points. But anyway, if that's how you want to take it, I wonder how the other council members have been expressing themselves that are running for election. Are they selling the platform? Of course not. This is democracy. Anyways, point, ordinance number 2. I just need to point it out on the ordinance real quick. I believe it's like 7 pages, but on page 3, under B2, I'm just wondering if you can just be tricky a little bit, because it's my impression that an electric scooter can be ride by 2 persons, and it's very dangerous because they ride in the middle of the street, and if it's 2 people in a scooter, kind of dangerous. It should be just allow 1 passenger, I believe. And also because it's just 10 minutes or 5 minutes to read the entire book, is there any possibility to have the agenda ahead of time, or at least 1 day or 12 hours before online, or have the recordings of the workshop meetings? That will help the residents to understand what's going on in the town. Moving forward, ordinance number 3. By the way, Councilman Luca, by any stretch of your imagination, I never said that I was trying to be singled out for the $50,000 increase. Just to cover, and thank you for mentioning, but no, I'm just saying that residents deserve some explanation, and tonight some kind of explanation was brought up, and that's all I was looking for, just to have the interchange of words or ideas. Ordinance number 3 on the water rates. I heard 2 council members saying tonight that we're not making no money. When I say we, the government, not making no money. Council President, let me ask you this. Do you know how many payroll members or payroll employees do we have in the water department? Are we paying any employee out of the water department line item? Do you know that?
Yes, we are.
Oh, yes, you are. How many?
It's 3.
How much money? That's how we making money. That's how we make money. To say that we're not making money, that's how we make money. Because basically we're receiving the water from the company and just putting it into the homeowner's residence or commercial buildings. But we are paying salaries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 employees, we're paying out of the money. So that's money that it shouldn't be getting paid out of the water department. It should be getting paid out of regular payroll. But we're using the water department to get money out of the water and paying those employees. For your information. So somehow, yes, we are making money. Is it fair now to say we're not making money? I don't think that it's fair actually to increase the rates to the homeowners under those conditions, unless you guys come and tell the homeowners the truth, whether we're making money or not. Government is making money with this. Thank you very much for listening. Happy Mother's Day if we don't see each other. Time for change. Thank you.
Motion to close.
Motion closed?
All in favor? All right, motion to adjourn.
Just 1 second, I just want to mention something. I just want to acknowledge our fire department for the mutual aid that they provided to a devastating fire in Garfield with DPs.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a long time favorite place of mine as well. But I'm glad that everyone, returned home safe. And thank you again.
Through the chair, if I may if I may point out one item, if that's okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Just if it's okay regarding utility budgets, just to what the member of the public just mentioned. Just in general, especially here, but it's also industry standard in municipal government, even other levels of government, when there is a utility that's ran through and operated by the entity, it has its own operating budget, and it's completely appropriate and fair to it's self-liquidating and offsets itself. It should, in theory. And also, it's very appropriate industry standard to supplement those salaries in and out of that utility budget. So it's very appropriate to in and out, whatever, all those salaries and the positions that are required to run and sustain that utility, what comes in and what's generated through there is meant to offset.
Thank you.
Just in general.
Thank you, Jim.
Just for the people out there that may be new to Saddlebrook government, the gentleman who was complaining, or not complaining, I don't want to misrepresent what was said, but the person who said that the salaries of those employees should not be paid out of the water budget have always been paid out of the water budget, and I believe, can't be quoted on it, but there was an issue because we had, when that particular person was on the council, we probably had 5 or 6 people who were on the payroll through the water department, and those people had nothing to do with the water department, whereas currently the people that are on the payroll are intimately involved with the water department, including the water clerk, and people that are assigned to do functions with the water utility. So it's a little disingenuous to say that we shouldn't be doing that when it's been done forever and done when that person was on the council and was council president. And we now know that the slogan is going to be time for a change, so thank you for previewing that for us. Thank you.
Engineers report, I forgot about, so I apologize about it.
No problem. Just Hobson Avenue, last fall, the water main was replaced. Very soon, there's going to be work done to improve the street itself, some concrete curb and some minor drainage improvements, and then the road's going to be milled and paved. So that may be happening. You might start seeing some work next week, and that milling and paving should happen soon, as well as the portion of Midland Avenue that the new water main was installed. The road program, we've today actually completed plans for Sampson Street and submitted them to NJDOT for their review. Once they buy off on everything, we can go out to bid. Orchard and Sterling Place, those plans are also complete. They'll be submitted to CDBG tomorrow, and then we can very soon, very shortly, go out to bid on those roads. We're currently working on the other 6 roads that are part of the program. We've completed surveying them. We're now preparing the plans, and we'll look to go out to bid in the near future on those roads. And the last road that's scheduled for paving is Alberta Drive. Those folks should be patient. We're still waiting for confirmation, but I believe the gas company will be replacing the gas main on that road, so we will allow that to happen first before milling and overlaying. And that's all I got.
Thank you.
Council President, I have one more thing. I just want to wish all the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day. I failed to mention that before, and I want to make sure my locks don't get changed at home, so at least I can get in the house. So happy Mother's Day to all the residents. Thank you.
Just want to say that I believe that this council and this mayor have engaged in the most comprehensive road program in the history of Saddlebrook. So trying to get to every road, there were decades where no roads were paved. But as you heard, we've got a number of roads being paved this year, and we have already in plans for next year. So I think that we are trying to help the town by doing the right thing. So that's been changed. We did change from not paving roads to having a comprehensive and successful road program, and it benefits everyone. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to go out on different streets?